is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Hey there, folks. Welcome you all to yet another podcast of mine. It is Flaggins Up Friday, people. Flaggins up to you all. I've had a cracking week. Well, I say cracking week. It's been hard work, but it's been very productive in the world of my day job, that is. And I've been doing my 10Ks this week. I've done 3 10Ks this week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I mentioned the gym last week in my last vlog, and I did do the gym last Saturday, and then that's right, because I did the vlog on the Saturday night, didn't I? Because it was the first time in the new studio, people, the new studio. So I did so well at the gym that I hurt myself to the point where I couldn't do anything. Well, the only thing that didn't hurt was my legs, because I was doing my, what about their legs? They don't need those. Yeah, my legs, the legs were the only thing that would work. But even then, like, my entire chest and my arm, especially my arms, were in such pain after overdoing it at the gym first time back in about a year and a half. So even though I've been running for a long, long time, the swimming would probably have helped me out. But because I've not been able to do that for months and months and months, that's, that basically I've not got a muscle in my body, people, other than in my legs for the running. So it was good to, although it was painful nearly all week, especially my arms, like stretching them out was just agony. So that seems to have all passed now. I think we are, well, it's still a tiny bit, but I think by the time I actually go back, which will be Sunday, it'll have been a week since I've been, but I'll have got over the worst part of it. So running, exercise-wise, it's been great, and I've been eating very little. I'll have my beers tonight and a bit of a cheat day tomorrow, and then I'll be back on, low cal and all that. So that's all been great exercise-wise, and I'm really excited for going back to the gym on Sunday and getting that going so that I can do my Monday, Wednesday, Friday runs and do possibly gym Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, something like that. For now anyway, until I get cracking. And yeah, so it's been a great week exercise-wise, and then, people, through the week, would you believe it? I've mentioned in a couple of my podcasts or vlogs that I was waiting for the opportunity to show off you might see them, those astute of you will have noticed them already, my steelbook collection, but I wanted to wait until the bookends that I had ordered arrived, and this was about 2 months ago now that I ordered these, or thereabouts, month and a half. But I don't know, when you order something from Wish, it can come from China, so it can take forever to get here. But it arrived, to recap for those that don't know, it arrived at the post office, and I got a card through the door saying they wouldn't deliver it because there was a custom fee on it of £10. So, I got them sort of third off anyway. Third of the price. So they were really cheap considering what they are normally, I think. And so I wasn't that bothered about paying the £10, but it just, every time I went on to pay it, it just wouldn't do it. It said, it's still not gone through customs, I can't pay it. So eventually, I emailed Royal Mail and said, look, I don't know what to do because your website won't let me pay for it. Anyway, long story short, I got a response a few days later. They said, try this link instead, which I did, and then I was able to pay the money. And they arrived yesterday, these bookends, these glorious Hobbit bookends, and I love them. This isn't their home, by the way. I just brought them up so I can show them off to you. Their home is downstairs with all the geeky bits down there. What I have been thinking though is I do want to get some geeky bits around this TV so that when we're doing the vlogs you've got some interesting bits around it. So actually it helped today just to have them there. I'll have to decide what moves up from the living room and what stays in the living room. The living room's getting pretty packed now with all my geeky bits. So, there is a strong argument to be putting some of them back up here. So a lot of the things in the living room used to be up here, actually, on the desk when it was over that side of the room and not facing the wall before I moved it all around. Can I just say, if I haven't already, because I've forgotten now, I've started this video 3 times, and every time I started it, I didn't like it. So this is the Flaggins up to you all, people. It is, in fact, Flaggins up Friday this week, doing this vlog. As opposed to last week, we did it on the Saturday, didn't we? Because I wanted to do the gym on the Saturday, and then I wanted to move this room around and blah, 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 and get the new studio set up, people. So we are back on a Flaggins Up Friday this week. Work-wise, I will show these off to you in a minute. Work-wise, I have coded my bottom off, people. My little bottom off. And for the last 2 weeks, pretty much, in order to try and have everything that there's still much more to do in this project. Right? I work for a college, and I'm designing a portal for the students, which will let them do all sorts of things in the portal. Accept their enrollments and accept their application offers and do their enrollment agreements. It gives them information on the homepage. It lets them search for things. There's so much stuff in it. Like, I'm forgetting half of it now. Though my brain's dying, people. I've finished work for the week, but there is just so much in it. Traffic light system to tell them if they need to do something, and it links a whole bunch of other systems together as well. So it's like a central hub for the students, and that's basically what I've been writing over the last number of months pretty much since tail end of March, I think it was, when I just released the admission system product, which has been running quite happily since then. I moved on to doing this, and yeah, it's gone really, really well. It's been a monumental task, and there's still loads to do, but I've been coding my bum off. So I've been coding all day. I would try and get a run in at lunchtime, and then I would have something to eat around 4:30, and then I would just work again. So I've not done much gaming. So I've been working pretty much till 10 or 11 at night for the last 2 weeks, because I'm adamant that there was an amount of stuff that I wanted in this thing, so that they didn't have to resort to using an older system, which is really outdated now. So I've now got it to a point where they don't have to use that older system, and it's ready to go live next week. Hopefully Monday it'll go live. So I'm really, really chuffed, and I've got so much more in it than I thought I was going to make for the deadline because of the extra hours I've been doing. And yeah, so it's just been a terrific couple of weeks of coding, and another good week this week. Sometimes, every now and then, you end the week and I hate doing it, and I always end up working late if I can, because you end on a low, and it's like, why isn't that working, and why can't I fix it? It just bugs you for the entire, well, it does me. Bugs you for the bloody entire weekend or whatever if you get to the end of a week. But I literally finished off the massive bits I finished off last night, the things that I really wanted to do, and then there was a bunch of little things I wanted to make sure I got done today so I could go live on Monday, and everything else that's on the list can just happen when it happens. It's all extras, and all the fundamentals that they need for day one are there. So a little bit more testing Monday morning. We'll probably go live with it Monday afternoon. Didn't want to go live on a Friday because then you've no support for 2 days because the college is closed. So there you are. So I've had a cracking week, really. Shall we move on to some gaming, people? Some gaming stuffs. Shall we show off these steelbooks? Hopefully this isn't too dramatic. I'm going to have a sip of this before we get going. My goodness me, that's good, people. That is my first beer of the week, and it is very nice indeed. So let's do this without making things fall over, shall we? Now these, when I picked the box up, because I don't like to hand it to you anymore, it was on the floor. But when I picked the box up from the floor, I thought that feels really light. And I have to say, if I was using these for bookends, for actual books, they would not be doing the job, because they're just too light. And I was expecting them to be quite heavy, and they're not. So the fact, it doesn't matter to me, because they were bought specifically to house the steelbooks, and they're perfect for it. But if you were going to put books in between these, they would not hold them up, especially big heavy books. It wouldn't hold them up. So I would say that. That said, I love the look of them. Absolutely fantastic. Really, really nice. Really nice design. And I was a bit like, in the picture, I don't remember them looking green. I thought they were sort of gold. But I was actually happier with the green. I thought it looked really, really smart, and it goes really well with the living room. You get a good look at those. So there you go. It just says the Hobbit, of the whatever it is, of Smorg, decimation, whatever. So I'm really, really chuffed with them. They look fantastic. And I'm not bothered about the weight, because they stand sturdy and what have you, and they'll keep them up. But they wouldn't keep a book, a set of books up that were tilting or what have you. So far as the steel books go, we have The beautiful The Last of Us Part 2 with some cracking artwork on it. Joel on the back, Ellie on the front. Really, really nice. I mean, they do sometimes have some nice art inside as well, but there isn't really anything in that one. Sometimes, I think we'll see it on one of the others. Sometimes there's some nice art inside as well. I'm going to have to put all this back live, people, live. Ghost of, I'm going to keep saying it, Ghost of Tsushima, which is actually really, it's really, I don't know how much of it you're going to see, but it's really simple. It's just got the gold Ghost of Tsushima on the front, and then it's got that beautiful little dark silver image, and then that beautiful pattern on it. Gold writing and little sucker punch thing on the back. It's just really subtle, but really, really nice. Was there any art inside that one? Hang on, didn't look. Well, actually, yeah, it's got... let's have a look. Actually, this one's got a nice manual with it as well, which I've not looked at. Well, I say that. Yeah, can't seem to get it out. Hang on. We're stuck, people. We're stuck. Well, it's got a nice manual, and it's just full of sort of offers and things, I think. But anyway, it's got a code. It's got a voucher code on it, and then it's got different languages inside it. But inside, it's got some beautiful... Try to see what they are. They look like leaves, I think, maybe. Or some sort of flower petal. Really nice. Not that you'll look at the inside much, but it's just nice when you open the game to see a nice, beautiful pattern. I'm surprised The Last of Us didn't have one. It was just clear. Then we have... Now the other nice thing, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, people. The nice thing about the Steelbooks is, it doesn't matter whether it's a PlayStation game or Xbox game. They'll sit nicely and they'll look like the same set. Because this Sekiro game is actually the Xbox One version of Sekiro. And it's absolutely gorgeous as well. And it's got Sekiro on the back of it with the Chinese writing. Japanese writing, sorry. And... oh, it's got some great artwork in it. There you go. It's him flying through the air. And sort of big temple on the other side. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm actually curious as to... oh, it's... oh, yeah, it is. It's still in my Xbox, I think. Ghost is in the PlayStation, and that's still in the Xbox. Because I was playing it as I waited it... no, I played Titanfall. I was playing that, then I played Titanfall. I didn't want to go from Sekiro to Ghost of Tsushima because I'd be completely confused with the buttons. This other one is Deus Ex Mankind Divided. It's a gorgeous steelbook, this. Fantastic. Absolutely beautiful, that. And these actually, this one and the next one, were accidental purchases, really, because I didn't realise I was buying the steelbook. And there is just a sort of styled pattern inside that one. And finally, of the set that I have at the moment, I am going to go out my way to buy more of these steelbooks because I think they're absolutely stunning. And they look really good on display. We have the Hitman series, the new one. Well, there is a new one coming, of course, but this is the newest one at the minute. In a white box. I mean, they're all pretty different, which is quite nice as well. I mean, it's got Hitman embossed on that as well. That's actually raised, that writing, steel. And inside, we have more artwork. We do. Can't quite see what's behind the disc, but you've got the Hitman image in there as well. Absolutely stunning, really nice. The artwork on them is just incredible. I love it. So I'm really, really chuffed that all arrived. Sorry, that the bookends arrived. I'm going to try and put these up here without causing chaos while we're live, people. Well, that went right. That went rather smoothly, people. I'm quite chuffed. Well, there you go. Well, I hope that was of interest to somebody. But I'm going to try and get more of these steelbooks for games that I'm really excited for, or games that maybe I've already got a copy of, but I see a steelbook on offer or something like that. I'm just causing chaos with my beer now. So there you are. Yeah, I'm really, really chuffed with that. Right, should we get on to some gaming talks, people? Some gaming talks. So, I stumbled across a vlog. I did my vlog last week. Yeah, sorry, my podcast last week about well, it was which console would I choose, right? And it was all based on the pros and cons of it all. Now, a massive part of that decision now, for me, is something that no one's really talking about and no one's really excited about, and it baffles my brain somewhat. And I stumbled across a video with Alana Pierce talking about exactly the same thing. And I thought, yeah, I didn't. And then I smacked myself on the forehead because I had actually meant in my podcast last week to mention the Xbox Games Pass as part of the pros of the Xbox Series X, One X, whatever, one. Or just Xbox in general. And I'm glad that I didn't now, because having looked at it a little bit more in depth, the initial idea for this podcast was because I'd seen the Alana Pierce one. I thought, do you know what? That's brilliant, because absolutely, why are we not shouting from the rooftops about, because when we saw the presentation from Microsoft the other week there, the games show off, the games reveal, the thing that no one seemed to be, everyone was just like, oh, Halo doesn't look that great. And I was like, well, it looked fine to me. I mean, did it wow me to the point of, my God, next gen is blowing my pants off? No, it didn't. Of course it never. It did look like something that I could play on the Xbox One X. So, you know, I didn't get any massive vibe about it being new gen. But we kind of needed to expect that, because they did warn us that they were making stuff for both last gen and this gen, and I think in doing that you are limiting yourself. I talked about it in one of my other vlogs / podcasts, that Phil Spencer said that it doesn't hold you back, but I absolutely think it does. And it's okay and it's fine, and I still think that Halo game is going to be great to play. I think the campaign is going to be fantastic. It's really, really open. It's a massive homage to the first Halo game, but it seemed to cast this big shadow over it, because nobody was overwhelmed with it visually, that it kind of blanked everything else out that was great about that showcase. And one of the massive things about that showcase was that every single title you saw was going on Games Pass. And I mean, for me, I think that I mean, that said, right, that's fantastic. And that was going to be this podcast, right? Talking about just Xbox Game Pass and the fact that it's one of the best things to hit gaming, if not the best thing to hit gaming ever. Because if you are someone who can't afford to buy a £50 game, which is where we're at now, and it will probably be £60 by the time we get to next gen. If you're someone that can't afford to buy those games at launch, and even when they come down to £40 or £30, some people just haven't got the money to be dishing it out. And if you're not that fussed about playing third-party stuff later down the line, and you just want a massive variety of games to get your hands on, it is amazing. You've got, like, the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is $10.99 a month, £10.99, which I think equates to like $15.99 in dollars or something like that, $15. And that's the Ultimate version, right? There is a standard version of it, which is $7.99 a month, and I'll let someone else work that out in dollars, but it might be $11 or something like that. And for that money per month, and it's not something you have to sign up for a year. You can just do it month by month. If you want to cancel it next month, just cancel it and redo it the next month. For that money, you're getting over 100 games, right? And those games change intermittently. You'll get new third parties coming on. What never changes is all of the first party stuff is always there. You'll always be able to get all the Halo stuff. You'll always be able to get all of the Gears stuff. Every single Gears game ever is on that Games Pass. Every Halo on that Games Pass. And, you know, you can say that for any of the exclusives that Microsoft have done first party wise, I think, as memory serves. And that in itself is a massive back catalogue if you've never played them. And I mean, hell, I would play all of the Gears games again because it's been that long since I played them, and you know, especially I mean, I've still got the Gears remake Gears 1 remake. I still haven't finished it actually. I started I bought that to be fair. But I think that's on the Game Pass as well. So the amount of stuff on there, but the third party stuff chops and changes at the moment. You've got I mean, we'll have a look at the list of top games that are on both at the minute because we are also going to talk about this podcast was just going to be about Xbox Game Pass, and then it was like I thought, hang on a minute, well, what is PlayStation Now then? Because I thought PlayStation Now was only for playing games from the past. It was their way of backward compatibility. But that's not what PlayStation Now is now. Now, and it used to be just streaming. But it's not just streaming now either. You can actually download the games and play them offline if they are PS4 and PS2 games that they've got on the systems. So, or on PlayStation Now. So you can download the PS2 and PS4 games and play them offline. I think the PS3 games have to be played as a streaming game because they've not recomputed or whatever the word is those to be able to play them offline. Somebody can correct me on that, but the thing I read said you can download the PS4 and PS2s. Didn't say anything about the PS3s. But here's the argument, right? Because I thought I know what the big payoff's going to be if picking one from the other, right? I'm pretty sure from everything that I'm looking at that PlayStation Now, and it's still a monthly subscription, right? But if you've got over 100 games on the Xbox Games Pass, and you've got over like 700 games or something on the on the PlayStation Now one, which covers PS2, PS3, and PS4. There might be some PS1 stuff on there. I think PS1 maybe that plays online as well. But anyway, I don't know. But and obviously it's not every game ever. So, it's just the ones they've decided to sort out and make available. And the prices are fairly on balance. So you've got there's only one price for PlayStation Now, and it's £8.99 a month. Whereas with Xbox, you've got the Games Pass Standard, which is $7.99 a month, and you've got the Games Pass Ultimate, which is $10.99 a month. Now, here's the thing that I've not quite figured out. So far as I could tell, it didn't say on the Game Pass Standard that you got the first party titles on day one of their launch. So when new titles arrive, that you get them day one. You might do, but it doesn't say that when you look at the information. But if you look at the Game Pass Ultimate, it says in massive writing every first party title day one on its launch. So I feel like that's the big difference. But I know that there are perks and bonuses that come with being an Ultimate member, and I haven't looked into what all of them are yet. All of those are, even Steve, proper English, thank you. But there will be perks and stuff, whether you're interested in any of those perks or what. Maybe you get some extra games that the standard Game Pass doesn't, or I don't know, DLC that you don't get on the Games Pass Standard. But I think it's pretty amazing that you've got two platforms where you can game for, well, at most £11 a month, and cheapest $7.99 a month. And it's just the over 100 titles on one of them, over 700 titles on the other. And yet nobody seems to be wowing too much about them. I think PlayStation Now got a little... I think PlayStation Now's harder to get a grasp of because I think people are just starting to notice that they're actually putting newer titles on there. I say newer titles. They're not brand new. We'll have a look at some of the lists that I looked at. So let's just check that I've covered the... Yeah, that's right. And PlayStation Now used to be just streaming, so you had to be online and it streamed the game down to you. Whereas now the PS4 and PS2 ones, you can download them and play them offline. And $8.99 a month, and then you've got Ultimate and Standard $10.99, $7.99 each, and then they're not streaming at all. They're all downloaded, and you just play them like a normal game. You just get the game, and if you don't pay for that Game Pass next month, you would just, when you try and activate the game, it just won't play. So it's interesting. What it's going to come down to is I think what the level of titles are that you're getting, right? So let's have a look at what I dug up. So if we look at, well, let's look at, what was the first one I dug out? Right, now PlayStation was pretty impressive, right? So this is just the first ones that came up when I searched for best titles, right? Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch, which is an amazing game. PS3 version, right? Because that was remastered, wasn't it? For PS4. So it's the PS3 version of that, which I assume you'll have to stream. Bloodborne, I mean, there's a bloody title and a half. Fallout 4, title and a half. Journey, title and a half, I hear. I've not played it. Although Journey is the PS3 version. I'm not sure why. Hollow Knight is a cracking game as well. That got massive reviews. Again, I haven't played it. Aaron Brew loved that game. Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Dark Cloud 2 on PS2. The Red Dead Redemption, right? So, and I know that one's on Games Pass as well. So there's just a few of the titles that are on it, right? They're not brand new titles, but they are big games, people, some of them. In fact, I would argue that all of those are big games, just at different times of your life. And where's the Games Pass one? Rather than write these down, I just brought the web pages up. Now this one's a bit harder because I couldn't find a set list, so it's like a massive article. Just got to scroll down it. Nier Automata, this is Xbox Game Pass. Red Dead Redemption 2. The Outer Worlds, cracking game that. I still haven't finished it. I need to play that. Outer Wilds. Gears 5. Life is Strange 2. It's a bit more of a story-based one, that. Batman Arkham Knight. I mean, bloody hellfire. There's a title and a half for you. Dishonored 2. Another great title. Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Another cracking title, that. I haven't played it, but the reviews that got were incredible. Halo the Master Chief Collection. So basically every Halo game ever-ish. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I mean, Jesus Christ, people. That's a massive, massive title. Yakuza 0, which Aaron swears by. He loves that series. I've yet to play any of them. I bought Judgment, still haven't played it yet. So look, there's a taster, right? Now, I understand that they're not brand new titles, but they are massive titles, most of those. And you can play all of them for less than a tenner a month. You know what I mean? It's like, what, $10.99 at the dearest. And it's just insane. Like, you know, back in the day, you were stuck with, I'm going to pay 40 odd quid for a game, or £40 for a game back in the day, I suppose, £50 now. And then you would milk them because you would have no, well, you would have money, but you'd be like, well, I'm not buying 3 games a month because that's just ridiculous. It's like 150 quid or whatever it is. So you could play like you could play as many titles as you want for that amount of money per month. I mean, it's surprising that people aren't singing it from the rooftops. I think the problem is that it's come at a point where people are recognizing what it gives you now. So I think what will happen is, I think people will start buying into these services far, far more. I don't think that Xbox Game Pass is actually making Microsoft money. I'm pretty sure they came out and said that it's not making them profit yet, but that it's something that's being built on, much like Netflix was and all that sort of stuff. And it will pay dividends in the end. And it does lend itself to being a platform for developers, a lot of them smaller or a little bit different, that where people will try their games because they can without spending, you know, £30-40 on a game, or £50, you know, sometimes even for the smaller devs ones. So I think there's a massive benefit to both of these, like PlayStation Now and Xbox Games Pass. Both have this ability to bring a vast amount of diversity to your gaming when you would normally have not tried games of a certain type or paid money out for them. And I think as we go forward, I think this will be the way that people want to buy into games. At the moment, I think the way that Games Pass is doing it is probably clearer, it's crisper, and it's easier to get a handle on. But then you look at the PlayStation Now and you think, well, yeah, but it's got 700 odd titles. Whether or not, you know, it could be that only 100 of those titles match what Games Pass have on them. But Games Pass is covering Xbox 360 and Xbox One as well, and original Xbox for that matter. So it's still covering all areas. But I think as time goes on, I think more and more people will start buying into these products because it's just daft not to. Like, if you want to try, I mean, you don't even have to do it for a long period of time. It's like, I really fancy trying those games. I'm going to get Games Pass for 1 month for $10.99. And I'm just going to, or in fact, just do the $7.99 one because there's no exclusive out this month, if that is what the difference is. And just try it. And try a few other things while you're at it and just hammer through some games that you wouldn't normally have bought. And then just do it on and off. So, I mean, it's not like you have to invest in a year's worth of a pass or anything. You just do it month to month. If you don't want it next month, don't have it. So, I think it's a fantastic thing. And I think I'm going to start making more use of it. I'm not sure about PlayStation Now. I'm certainly going to start making use of the Xbox One because there are titles that hit that where I think, well, I haven't tried these games. Ori and the Will of the Wisps and what have you are prime examples of that. And things like Hollow Knight and all those sort of games that I wouldn't have gone out and bought, but everyone raves about them and says how amazing they are. So I think from a developer's point of view, much as though you're not getting, for a certainly smaller developers, I mean, they might have struggled to get sales in the first place. So if they can get, after, say, a month or two of it being out, and they start putting it on Game Pass, and then you get whatever Microsoft give you from Games Pass money, and then, your game gets really well heard about, and people start spreading word about it again, take it off Game Pass for a bit, some people might start buying it. So I think it's a terrific way of getting people involved in games that you just wouldn't have touched normally. And I think if you want diversity in your gaming, it's absolutely the thing to do. Absolutely the thing to do. And if you're someone that never buys brand new games because you always buy them cheap when they're stop doing that and just get Games Pass or PlayStation Now. Because you'll get the same benefits from them and it'll broaden your gaming horizons as well. I've said many times that one of the best gaming experiences I had was with Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. I've played it on the PS3 and the PS4 now, I think, the remastered one. And it was just terrific. And it's a really short little game. I mean, it was only about 5 hours long, I think. 6 hours, 5 or 6. It might not have been that long. It was certainly 5 hours maybe, but I think I bought it for like £10-12 or something. And it's one of the best experiences I've ever had in a game. I got so connected to that game. I had so much fun playing it. And it was really quirky, and it was just one of those titles that I just would not normally have played. But at that point, it was like £3-4. I think I paid very little for it, and I'd heard good things about it. But that's the very kind of thing that I could use Games Pass or PlayStation Now for. So it would be very interesting to see if PlayStation turn that, and they already are, but if they turn it even more toward designing it around what Xbox are doing with their Xbox Games Pass. But it was funny, it was interesting because when I watched the Alana Pierce one, I thought I'm going to have to do a little podcast on this because I've completely missed that from my pros and cons podcast. And then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, well, hang on a minute, because everything, it was like, everyone keeps going on about the fact that this is one of the biggest selling points of an Xbox. And it's like, yeah, well, hang on a minute, what is PlayStation Now then? And it really wasn't what I thought it was at all. Not anymore. It used to be that, but it's not now. So, I'm definitely going to, I've had Game Pass before. In fact, I bought it specifically to play the Outer Wilds on the channel. And I did a number of episodes of it. And then it ran out. Well, what you do is you pay for it. And if you think, I don't want it running monthly, you just go into your account and turn off in fact, you can do it on you can do it on the Xbox, on the console, but on PlayStation, you have to go on the website and do it. It's a bit cheeky. But basically turn off automatic renewal. Just turn it off and then it just ends at the end of the month. And then the next time you fancy some of the titles that are hitting it, you just buy it again. But there's so much stuff on both of those platforms that you could get both of those platforms, and for a normal person doing normal gaming time, you probably wouldn't have to buy a game for like 2 years. It's like, it depends. I mean, all relative to how much time you spend gaming, but it's the variety that gets me. And I really feel like there's so many people out there that are going, oh, well, the PlayStation exclusives far outweigh the Xbox ones. But I kid you not, I have a very strong feeling that the diversity that will come from Xbox in this next gen will be far stronger than the diversity we're getting from the PlayStation ones. The PlayStation titles are fantastic, don't get me wrong, but they all follow a pattern. And it's all this third person over the shoulder fighting in some form or other. So they all have, and it might be an open world and it might be a bit more linear, but it's all the same kind of game. So, you know, it's where Microsoft can find that more diverse range of games, and I think they've got that, and I think that's why they bought the companies that they did. And when you look at Obsidian releasing Grounded this week on the test thing, the preview thing, but they've also got a massive RPG on the making, and they also have Outer Worlds updates coming. There's just like the variety is just going to be stronger, I feel. I think PlayStation needs to... I saw another podcast on this from someone, I'm forgetting who, about whether or not PlayStation are taking enough risks with their titles, because they found a format and it works and people are buying them, so stick with the format. So, you know, it's a third person open world or it's a third person linear, and it's a different setting and it's a different, you know, story and blah, and that's fine, and people love it and I love it. But maybe, just maybe, I mean, Ratchet and Clank's probably the one that squeeze off that kilter a little bit. You know, and obviously Bloodborne is what it is. It's still third person, but it's not like the others really. But, you know, I love all those games, don't get me wrong, but I think that's where Microsoft's strength is going to be. I think it's going to be in its diversity of those AAA titles that they finally get from these studios. I said it the other week there, I would love it, absolutely love it, if that State of Decay 3 has been built from the ground up with just the most ridiculous graphics that we've, you know, sort of Days Gone-esque or, you know, The Last of Us-esque type graphics, because they were not AAA titles. I did try, by the way, to make these duller images from last week. I got rid of all the white ones, but the blue ones are still causing me no end of grief, aren't they? I can't find anything with PlayStation on it that's got a dull background. It's just going to be... maybe I should get one screenshot and just have that in the background, people. But I thought it's of interest, so I thought... But it just makes me go darker, especially when it goes dark outside. It starts getting darker every time you hit a light screen. Anyway, so there you are. That's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. I mean, I'm of an ilk where I'm of a mind, should I say, of getting Games Pass again. I won't do it yet because there's just so much I've still not played in my own collection, and we've got the new gen coming up. So. But then, you know, here's what I might do. I might well get the Games Pass Ultimate for day one of the launch of the Series X, because then I can have Halo without paying any money out, and whatever else they decide to do first party wise without paying any money out, and whatever else is on there at the time, to see how it plays on the Series X. So I might just do it for that month and just crack into it, and then I'm, you know, maybe show some stuff off on the channel or whatever. But that's a great idea of something to do with it. I'm not sure that PlayStation Now do... This is another big thing, actually. Here's a big thing, because a lot of the stuff that Microsoft do that's backward compliant has been Ubered up for, even if it's not a remaster and it's just an Xbox game that's back compat. The back compat games have been Ubered up so that they've been enhanced. So they play far, far better than they ever did. I don't know if that's true of PlayStation Now stuff, because I've never tried it, and they've certainly never sang the songs about that. So that is another massive benefit of Xbox as well. Anyway, there you are. It was just my thoughts and pennies worth on it. I think I just think that they're certainly the Xbox Games Pass is fantastic. I'd have to try out PlayStation Now to actually see if it's something that I get the same buzz from. And what I really want is, and Microsoft gives me it already, and they'll be giving me it on the Series X, is to be able to play all my discs in the machine. Just put the disc in and either plays it from the disc or downloads a new version. At the moment it downloads a new version, but I just don't have to pay anything for them. I've kept my collections, you see. So my PlayStation 3, if the PlayStation 4 was able to play PlayStation 3 games, that would just be an absolute I mean, that'd be the best thing ever for me, because then I can get rid of pretty much everything else if they just made it fully backward compliant. But I don't think it's going to happen. If they were going to shout about that, I think they would have shouted about it already. I think they're probably struggling enough to make PlayStation 4 backward compliant. So, plus, if they do it, then what's the point of PlayStation Now? PlayStation Now would have to become something else, which I think it is anyway. It's starting to change. But, what would be the point of, if you could buy well, mind you can't really buy the discs anymore. The second-hand market, the prices would go up and you could download the games again. So if they could put them back into the ecosystem so that you download the games and pay money out for. I mean, for me, it's a no-brainer. If you can make those old games work again, how many people have still got their collections? I mean, I'm a rare person. I mean, most people don't have them anymore. So if you're going to make those games playable on the PS5 and you just add them to your catalogue of games that people can download, you'll be making a fortune on back compat stuff, which is exactly what Microsoft are doing. You can either get a lot of them on the Games Pass, but all the ones that aren't on Games Pass, you just download them, and the prices online are back up to like £14-15, because people will pay the money to play the good ones. And there's such a good back catalogue of the Xbox 360 anyway, and the Xbox One for that matter, for the ones they've put on there. And they're giving us even more in the next in the Series X. Apparently, backward compliance is just taking another leap forward. So there's going to be even more titles on there. So it's going to be dead interesting to see how those two what are they called? Those two services expand themselves and grow over the coming years, and especially with the new gen coming, as to whether they're going to enhance them in some way for those gens. So I think we'll certainly see. I think when it comes to this stuff, though, I feel like PlayStation are kind of being pushed by Microsoft because of what Microsoft have done when it comes to that sort of stuff. PlayStation Now, for me, was never meant to be what it is now. I think it was always meant to be a streaming service, because that's what they bought. They bought it from somebody else, and then they converted it into PlayStation Now, is my memory of it. But it's converted into something else because of what Games Pass is doing, I think. I think they've seen that. I think they've seen that we need to keep people on side. We need to give them some sort of monthly payment scheme where they can get a whole bunch of stuff, and that's exactly what, and without having to stream it. And that's exactly what they're starting to do with it. So, yeah, I think it's fantastic. I think it's both those passes are two of the best things to happen to gaming in a long time, especially if you're somebody that can't afford to be buying games every time they drop, or can't really afford to be buying games generally speaking, and just want a wide variety, a big library of games to play, and you can pay 1 month and not pay the next. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. And I'm surprised that people don't harp on about them a bit more, really. Everything's all about new first party, new third party, everything's new. But when it boils down to it, what you want is just a great game to play. God's sake, I'm going dark again, people. It's because the light from outside's gone. And the lamp is not, well, the TV's taking over is what's happening. And what I really need, actually, to get rid of the problem is a stand-up daylight light that just shines on me while I'm recording. I mean, if you ask anyone that does this sort of stuff regularly, they'll say that one of the best things you can do for a camera is buy yourself a proper light that shines down on you and brightens you up, so that would then not have as big an impact on me. So I might have a think about that, people. I might have a think about that. So there you are. That's probably all I had to say, people. I have no idea how long I've been talking for. I've got that thing going on, people, where the coasters stick into the bottom of the glass. Every time I pick it up, it clunk. Ooh, flagons up, people. Bloody hell, that's nice. Beer. The first beer is always amazing, isn't it? Second one ain't so bad either. Anyway, there you are. Well, I hope that's been of interest to you. Let me know in the comments below whether you have Games Pass, whether you have PlayStation Now, what you feel between the two things, whether you feel that they are pointless to you, or whether you think it's something is it something you've been doing? Or is it something that you are really interested in starting because you don't want to be forking out all this money, especially the new £60 price tag we're going to be getting? So I'd be really interested to see what you guys think, and whether or not it is something you're doing already, or whether it's something that is teasing you to move to one platform or the other. So there you are. Before I go dark again, flagons up to you all. Comments below, people. Loads of comments. I love it when you talk to me. There was loads of comments last week. It was brilliant. So comments down below. I will reply to you all. Flagons up to you all. It has been an honour and a privilege serving for you in this podcast of mine today. And I shall see you in the next one, folks. Take it easy. Bye.